Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today at Oshodi Health and Fitness, health, wellness, and fitness tips and resources. Today, we will be discussing running tutorial, specifically running with proper form and how to improve performance and also lower and minimize or even eliminate the risk of injury. Before we go into that, we can talk about the areas where we can measure performance or improvement in performance. Running is a full body exercise. Yes, full body. It's not just legs as far as cardio is concerned, but it's a full body exercise. And the three major areas where we can measure performance becomes power, speed, and endurance. When we talk about running power, we're literally just talking about how strong and how powerful, explosive each step or each stride is. When we talk about speed, we're talking about how fast your legs are moving as far as each stride. How fast is each stride that you're taking? How long does it take? And then endurance is pretty much the measure of how long you can keep either the measurement of power going or how long you can keep that measurement of speed going. And it combines all to provide measurable ways of seeing if there's improvement in your running. When discussing exercise-related running, there's two major reasons why people engage in running for exercise. The primary one, or a very common one, is for weight loss. All right, very common among the general population is for weight loss. The second reason is with regards to sports performance and improving your distance and or your time. And when we talk about exercise-related running, those are the two major reasons, for distance and or time, as well as for weight loss purposes. Now that you've seen the demonstration with perfect form running, it's time to break it down. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a full body exercise. And here's how we're gonna start with the lower body. All right, go over the movements of the lower body, go with the movements of the upper body and take things from there. For lower body purposes, we have to look at how both legs are moving in unison, all right? So the only way to do that is to really break it down one leg at a time. Because at the end of the day, both legs are doing the exact same thing. They're just doing it at different times, all right? So taking a side view, 4 positions I like to teach, right? So you can see it, I'll keep the bar here. This is position 1. Let's go, knee up, position 1. Foot out, position 2. Position 3, you're taking this knee, meeting it with the other knee, or where the other knee's supposed to be at start and the standstill. And then the 4th position is bringing the foot back. From here, you can start right back over. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Looks just like this. All right. I'll show you the other leg just so you can see. Now, I want to break it down and have you understand that when you're in this position, right, when this leg is up, you have this core that's fully activated. A lot of times you'll see people, they just bring the leg in front of them like that. You want to make sure you're getting that leg up because you want to work that core abdominal muscle. All right, so lifting that knee up, extending it out, and coming here. Now, when you bring the leg back, what you're doing is you're incorporating some hamstrings, and as soon as you tighten the hamstrings up, you're releasing it and letting it work, all right? So having stronger hamstrings are gonna help with your running speed, all right? Speed and or power. It all depends on what you're working toward. But again, getting those 4 positions proper and engaging your core without moving your upper body, that's what you want to be able to do, all right? And that's where the core actually comes into play as being a stability muscle to make sure that your body's in control, and when your legs are doing all of those movements, you're not just coming all over the place like this. For upper body purposes, I've taken out my entire lower body from the equation, and this is to have a lot more emphasis on how important the upper body and its movements are into proper form running technique, all right? So when it comes to the upper body, I like to coach, you want to keep a 90-degree angle at the elbows. The whole time, regardless of how far you're running, how short you're running, you always want to keep a 90-degree angle at the elbow, all right? And this proper running form should be just like this, so that when your left arm is moving up towards your eyes, your right leg is moving up towards your chest or towards your stomach. And when your right arm is moving up, your left leg is moving up, so that the arms and legs are working in unison. But again, we're utilizing a lot of shoulders, we're utilizing our biceps to keep this angle, to keep this 90-degree angle, but to also pump back and forth, right? So when we talk about strong shoulders for running, this is what I'm talking about. All right, now don't make fun of me, don't laugh now. But you just saw how powerful those shoulders can be and how important they can be in becoming a more powerful runner. Again, when you want, I keep 90-degree at the elbows so that you can keep this proper form rolling, like kind of like a pendulum, all right? I've also tell people eye socket to pants pocket. When you go bring this hand from your eye socket to your pants pocket and always keeping this 90-degree angle, you have no choice but to come in this motion right here. Don't swing across your body. It's swinging in a straight line, just like a pendulum. And again, all right? Don't laugh. All right, I got on the floor for you. I talked a little bit about the core's involvement as a stabilizer or stability muscle when talking about running. I mentioned that as we discussed lower body. But you have to understand, now that you've seen how important the upper body movement is and how important how strong and violent the legs can be moving when we're talking about running and powerful running, we need to understand that our core muscles are very strong. They have to be strong and they have to be utilized as stability muscles, but it also helps to incorporate proper breathing technique. All right, so when we talk about core utilization during running, it goes hand in hand with the breathing technique. What I like to do is for people to get a real comfortable kind of sequence or cadence when it comes to their breathing, right? So let's say we're going through this motion, right? Let's say you want to do every 2 times your right hand hits your eye or make contact with your eye, that's when you want to start an inhale. So, you know, it's very different things like that. So when it comes to developing a certain cadence, you choose a cadence that's right for you, but just make sure that you're kind of consistent with that cadence as far as your inhale in through the nose. All right, sometimes it's 2 or 3 seconds of inhaling followed by 3 to 4 seconds of exhaling. Sometimes it's 3 to 5 seconds. You know, you find a cadence that's beneficial for you and you make it work, or you can play with a bunch of different cadences. But you want to be in control of your breathing, because as you start to build up your endurance, or as you start to work on building up your endurance, initially you will get tired fast, and one of the first things to go is your breathing. So start working on controlling that breathing, develop a stronger core, and develop a stronger stabilizer muscle for your running. Improve that breathing, improve your core strength. What people have to realize when it comes to running is the importance of proper running form and injury prevention. Not just in trying to get better at how long you run or what distance you run, but running with injury prevention, all right? We have to understand that running is not a faster paced walking. Running and walking are 2 completely different exercises and 2 completely different movements. All right. So I know when people say cardio, they correlate walking and running as the same. They are not. So if you want to look at it in different terms, let's look at and talk about specifically differences. Let's look at running as a plyometric movement. At some point in time when you're running, you have periods of time where there's no feet on the floor. So you're landing all your effort, all your weight, and all your power and intensity, your velocity on one leg at times when you're running. And that's what we have to understand. Running is a very different movement and exercise than walking. And there's a lot of risk for injury when improper running technique is incorporated into your training regimen, or if your body's not strong enough for the type of running that you're doing, or the type of power that you're generating as you land every time you take a stride. Running with proper form isn't the only thing to look at with regards to injury prevention. All right, and here's where I get to talk about more of the correlation of running to different factors of the individual. The first factor is strength training. How strong is that individual's legs? All right. The second factor is how much does that individual weigh? All right, because weight now becomes a major factor with regards to injury prevention and preparing a runner who's going to be engaged in running to make sure that their weight is associated with the next step, the intensity, the duration, and the level of running that they're going to be doing. All right, so when we look at these three aspects, the strength training aspect, the weight of the runners aspect, and the other factors as far as the intensity, the duration, and the distance that the person's running. We have to make sure those three are working in unison, all right? So you can have three different people that weigh, let's start with 200 pounds. They all run with perfect running form. Now, this person that's 200 pounds has weak legs, then proper running form is going to be beneficial for them. But at a certain point with weak legs, there's going to be certain issues on the structure of your legs that are going to give out. All right. Again, 200 pounds is not lightweight. So we got to understand the trauma of hitting the floor every time with each step. So how intense we're running, the duration and what we're running, whether we're running for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, or 2 hours, and then also making sure that our weight is proper. All right, now we can always get better and better over time while staying the same weight, but the way that if we're a 200-pound person is going to be running and working on injury prevention, they've got to make sure that their legs are strong enough to withstand whatever intensity, whatever duration, and whatever frequency that they're doing their running. All right, as you get older or as you get heavier, there's a lot of different factors that come into play where you need to continue to prepare your body. So again, correlating running to three different topics: the weight of the runner, the frequency, the time, and the distance that the individual is running, and the strength of that runner's legs all help when you're looking at those, understanding that those three factors play an important role in helping improve injury prevention, but it also can play a detrimental effect in bringing about injury. So keeping in mind how much you weigh, how long you're going to be running for, how far you're going to be running for, the frequency that you're going to be running, and getting stronger legs, muscle, strength training to withstand whatever trauma that you're going to be putting in your legs. I started off by mentioning three different runners that all weigh 200. What I should have done was giving you three different runners at different weights, all right? So let's say we have a 150-pound runner, a 200-pound runner, and a 250-pound runner. Now, if they all had the same strength, the 150-pound runner will be more, his strength will be able to withstand more running duration, more intense running, as well as more frequency of running. That 250-pound runner, they won't be able to withstand as much intensity, as much duration, and as much frequency as the 150-pound runner, because each step that 250-pound runner takes is 100 pounds more trauma than, right off the bat, we're talking about just 100 pounds off. Now, again, someone who's 150 pounds, it may end up moving a little more quicker, but let's say if all things equal, only thing that was different was their weight. We're talking about each stride, each step that 250-pound person takes, it's 100 pounds more trauma with each step on each foot. all right, throughout the entire lower body structure. 100 pounds more trauma than that 150-pound person, all right? Now that 200-pound person is right in between, right? So again, as a 150-pound runner and a 250-pound runner, if they both have the same strength, the 150-pound runner can do more duration, longer duration, longer times, and more frequency because they weigh a lot less. Now that 250-pound person, if they went and got exponentially stronger, now we're talking about a more even ability for that 250-pound runner to kind of keep up as far as the duration, the intensity, the and the frequency of running as a 150-pound runner. But those factors make a huge difference in preventing injury, and that's why strength training is important. Strength training is important, and getting acclimated to better running mechanics is going to be important in helping you really perform running, progress in running, and also prevent injury in running. Again, you have a lot of people that may run marathons, that run 13 half marathons. They have different types of runners issues like at the hips, at the knees, and at the ankles. But if you're preparing and rehabbing and stretching and getting stronger as to correlate to your distance, correlates to your frequency, and correlates to how much time you're spending running, injuries can be prevented. But whatever you want to do, however you want to get there, you have to make sure that your body is well prepared in order to meet the demands of your running. Or your running surface is also something that needs to be addressed. All right. Now, with regards to running surfaces, there's 3 major surfaces to cover. There's track running. That's generally most tracks you'll have red pebble type rubber floorings. Then you'll have concrete, which is a very hard surface, and then you have treadmill running, which is more of a, I would say it's an in-between, where you have some padding for the treadmill. So the best place to run is going to be outdoors, right? But some people don't have that luxury to be able to utilize it for weather conditions, for whatever purposes. So when it comes to indoor running, treadmill is going to be most ideal, of course, or if you have an indoor track. But with regards to indoor, we're generally talking about running on a treadmill, all right? So treadmill running is very safe, it's effective, but again, you've got to incorporate and understand all the other mechanics of that individual who's running. Their weight, how frequently they're running, how long they're running for, and the intensity in which they're running for various speeds, all right? The next thing to talk about is the track. When it comes to outdoor running, the track is going to be more beneficial as far as injury prevention because of its protected surface, okay? That doesn't mean that running on concrete is a big no, it's dangerous, you should never do it. There are some actual benefits from running on concrete, but this video is not even about that. But it is possible and it's safe to run on concrete when you're applying the right things, all right? So one of the right things is duration and frequency. You don't have to run on concrete every single time you run, but as long as you're incorporating perfect running form when you're running on concrete, you can do that in moderation, all right? Also having the proper footwear. You want to make sure you have proper footwear. Yeah, so that's a whole nother topic, but we're talking about literally making sure we're running with power, speed, and endurance. What we have to understand with power is that with each stride, we can measure how much push we're getting out of it, how much impact we're getting out of it. That's a perfect way to measure power. So you can be very, very fast with limited power, and then you can also be very, very powerful with not so fast speed. Now, endurance encompasses both power and speed as far as how long can you keep this same power economy up, or how long can you keep the same speed up. Now, if it's very, very powerful and very, very fast, how long can you keep both that high speed and that high power going? Now, you're gonna see different applications of it. There's running on flatland, then there's running with incline. Now, you have to understand that running with an incline is more challenging. So if you're running at the same exact speed, but you'll have one running on flatland versus the other running uphill, that person running uphill is running with more power than that person running on flatland if they're at the same speed. Now, let's say the person running uphill is at a lower speed than the one running fast, then some calculations have to come into play to see who's generating more power. But regardless of anything, as you incline something, you then forcing yourself to have to use more power to get from point A to point B. If you can get from point A to point B in 10 seconds, and later on you move over and you're able to get to that same distance in 8 seconds, then you've increased 10 incline, 8.5 speed. 10 incline, 10 speed. Today's running technique or running tutorial, we covered a number of things that included measured areas of performance, and those three major areas are power, speed, and endurance. We also went over some of the main reasons for running as far as this correlation to exercise. And running for exercise, when we talk about it, it's either distance and time or it's for weight loss. All right, we demonstrated proper running form, then we broke it down and showed you the lower body importance, the upper body importance, as well as the importance of the core utilization and breathing technique when it comes to proper running form. All right, we talked about this correlation and how running is safe for the population. Proper running is safe, but you have to make sure that you're understanding what kind of correlations there are to safe running for you, the individual. Okay, because that changes based off of how much you weigh, based off of how strong you, the individual, are, and based off of the type of intensity, the frequency, and the duration in which you are going to be running for. And then we talked just a little bit about the different surfaces for running, and and then we showed the application as far as running, fast-paced running, a little slow, more methodical running, as well as running uphill. And you just want to make sure that you go with a proper training regimen that's safe for you, that's helpful, and that gives you an opportunity to progress while making sure you're working towards injury prevention. Good stuff today, real good work. This is running tutorial. It can be simple, but there's a lot of complicated things in the inner workings of it. But on the surface, it's about working towards a way to make running simple and easy for you and safe. Thank you once again for joining us here at Oshodi Health and Fitness, health, wellness, and fitness tips and resources. For up-to-the-minute posts and updates, please visit us at our website at www.oshodehealthandfitness.com. You can scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll be able to subscribe to our email list. Once you've done that, you can also click our YouTube link and also subscribe there. Again, we'd love to have you back. Look forward to having you back to learn more about the health, wellness, and fitness tips and things that can help you along your fitness journey. Thank you.